many of you own a business or in sales of any kind? Raise your hand. How would you feel if Monday morning when you got to the front door, there were people lined up down the street on one knee saying, please sell me your stuff? And you say, well, I'll have to check your credit. Wouldn't that be an interesting way to be? See, if you and I had done as good a job selling our stuff as the banks have selling Americans on believing debt is necessary to exist and debt is necessary to prosper, now we go in to buy their product on bended knee. We go in and say, please sell me your debt. And then when they approve us to buy their product, it's like getting accepted to a country club that nobody can get in. You know, it's like, I've got a plutonium card. I was accepted. That's tremendous marketing. It's called a negative sale. When you can get someone wanting something, take it away from them so they chase you to get it. That is powerful because everybody wants to get into a crowded restaurant, don't they? Everybody wants to buy something that's no longer on the shelves, don't they? That scarcity kind of feeling, and that's the way debt has been marketed, and very effectively, to where now we think we're someone if we get approved. Isn't that an interesting twist and how they've been able to pull that off culture-wide? I think it's excellent. I think they're very, very smart, and I think they're very good at what they're doing. But you know, if we go into any other store and the salesman comes up and says, can I help you please? You say, oh no, I'm just looking. I mean, what if you went into a bank and they said, can I help you please? You say, no, I'm just looking. Instead you go, would you please give me a car loan? Please, because I need a car. We're begging them to buy from them. That's excellent, excellent marketing. And now we've reached the point that 25% of families now have a negative net worth. And I just pulled this up today. This is very interesting. Last year, the gross revenues for the credit card industry was over $150 billion as a whole. That is more than the gross national product of Egypt, Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas combined. This is a big deal. And these guys are very good at what they're doing. I'm not saying they're evil, and I'm not paranoid. I don't think there's a conspiracy. I just think they're a lot better at selling than we are at not buying. I think they're excellent at what they do. And I'm really kind of in awe of them in an evil, whacked out sort of way. Rules over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. Slave to the lender. You see, what happens to most of us is we get out of school and we get married, right? No, this is not marriage. But Sharon and I, we got out of school. We had a little bit of a student loan debt. We had too much on a MasterCard and a lot on an Amoco card, because when I was in college, I bought a couch on my Amoco card. I don't think you're supposed to do that, are you? Guy said it was okay, though. And we started off our lives broke. You remember when you started off broke. We ain't got money, honey, but we got love. Good thing, too, because we ain't got no money. And we were eating off a card table, driving a 1902 Pinto, just getting our lives started. You remember. And that's about the time all those Pintos were blowing up. I don't know if any of you remember that or not. And my wife was driving the Pinto, so we were getting a little worried here. My buddies are going, bet you got good life insurance, don't you? So I got all embarrassed, went and bought my wife a brand new car I wanted. Yeah, some of the ladies understood that one, yeah. And then we're in this little apartment watching this television sideways that we bought at a garage sale. And so I went down to one of the electronics store and to get me a good television. 90 days, same as... Yeah, you know about that, because I'm a finance major. I'm going to get that free money. I'm going to use that free money. I'm going to beat them up. And I bought a stereo television, which meant I had to get a stereo. And then I had to get an entertainment center to put all this stuff in. Now, we're in a one-bedroom, flea-bag apartment eating off a card table, but we have a stereo system shaking 8-block area. Priorities, baby, priorities. And that's how we started off our lives. And then our friends came over and said, oh, you've been married 20 minutes and you haven't bought a house yet? Oh, renters go to hell. Oh, you can't be a renter. Gotta buy a house, gotta buy a house, gotta buy a house, gotta buy a house, gotta buy a house. Now listen, I want you to get a house, but broke people shouldn't buy a house. That blessing will turn into a nightmare. And so we went and we got a house with nothing down, because that's what we had to put down, nothing. They called it creative financing. We thought it was creative. Here we got no money, we signed our name and got a house. This is just good. In America, what a country. And we bought a house in the same neighborhood that I grew up in. You see, Larry Burkett used to say, we spend the first 5 to 7 years of our marriage trying to attain the same standard of living as our parents. Only takes them 35 years to get there. So we're in the same neighborhood as mom and dad, had a better car than mom and dad, and for sure had a better stereo system than mom and dad. That's how we started off our lives. We have people that look like this come into our office all the time. They're going, dude, can you get me out? See, the sad thing is 52% of the marriages in America end in divorce. Of those that divorce in the first 7 years, well, guess what they tell us? 90% of those say marriage problems caused the young marriage to crash. Money problems caused the young marriage to crash. You see, it's no fun like this to be married. You know why? Your leg gets tired. So we made a decision, Sharon and I, that the borrower really is slave to the lender, that's as true as the fact that is north. It's the truth. Whether we liked it, whether it was convenient, whether it hurt our feelings, it was still the truth. And we made a decision to get out of these things. And we worked like animals. We sold stuff. We drove old beat-up used cars. Our kids grew up in consignment sale. Yes, experienced clothing. But their college fund was funded Oshkosh Bagosh. And we made a decision we weren't living like everybody else. We figured out what normal was, and we didn't want any part of it. And it took us a while. It took us a lot longer than some of you that are working our program. But finally, we reached the point. Finally, we busted it, and we pushed, and we twisted, and we turned, and we sacrificed, and we didn't go on vacation, and we did all the stuff we talk about all the time. And finally, we paid off everything, even the house. You know what you can do if you don't have any payments? Anything you want. You know how hard it is to make money, save money, give money, and invest money when you don't already have everybody else's name on your money before it comes in? It's easy to make money, save money, give money, and invest money when you don't have someone else's name on everything you have. When all the money comes in and all the money goes out and only the names are changed to protect the innocent, it takes all the fun out of the deal. But Dave, what about? And that's what I get when I go around the country talking about debt. People generally go, yeah, debt's a bad thing, and we borrow too much in America. We get that, Dave. We understand. And it's a concept and a philosophy and a theology. We grasp that. But Dave, what about? And then there's their little thing that they think is different. And we all used to get these but Daves so much that we finally, on our talk radio show, the Dave Ramsey Show, we started doing a But Dave theme hour, where you could call in and ask me about your But Dave. And we would go into it, and I started hearing, and what I started realizing is that people not only had believed the overall myth that debt was the way to win with money, but they had all of these very specific little lies built into the big lie that they had believed. We call them myths. If you spread a lie, tell it often enough and loud enough, eventually it becomes accepted as the truth. So what we're going to do in this lesson is we are going to debunk the myths.
There are several financial myths that young adults fall for. The first one is that you have to build credit. That drives me crazy because credit is not necessary to survive. You need to know that the credit industry wants you to believe this. They know that if they can make people think that they need to build their credit, then they're giving you a reason to go into debt. The truth is, there is no reason to go into debt. We're the most marketed to country in the world. Watch the commercials when you get home. All of these commercials make you feel like you need these things. You don't need those things. It would be nice to have, but only if you have the money. so you don't need it. So avoid debt like the plague. I want young adults to just slow down. You can get things later in life. Just save up and pay cash for it. The next thing is that they often think, I can do whatever I want when I'm in college, and I'll just pay for it later when I'm making money. Taking on a lot of debt because you won't tell yourself no will limit your options later in life. Because when you get out, or even if you're in school, you've got to make the money required to make those payments. So by not thinking you can do whatever you want and just pay for it later, what you're doing is having self-control. And later, that's going to give you options for down the road. The third thing is the feeling that you need a new car. You have to look cool on campus, so you need a new car. The problem with that is if you don't pay cash for it, that car is bringing what? A lot of debt with it. And don't get me wrong, I felt the same way coming out of college. I didn't have enough money, and so fortunately, I refused to go into debt. Instead, I saved up, and I was able to get a newer car later. Everyone wants everything right now, but debt keeps you from being able to pursue your dreams later in life. Don't fall for these myths. Avoid debt, save for emergencies and large purchases, and learn to say no, even when the people around you won't.